Hey y'all, this is Dreaded Deimos, and welcome to another Talky Tuesday. Now, today I just thought I'd go on a bit about some of the things people were talking about in regards to space exploration, all this stuff. And, yeah, I mean, it's interesting things. Like, I know, what was it, Saturday, I think. There was supposed to be like a mile-wide asteroid that passed really close to the Earth. Supposedly you could see it. I did not get an opportunity to do so, but if you did, I mean, cool. If you want to tell me about it, feel free to do so. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah. And then you had recent things like you had the whole black hole uh picture not that long ago, which was pretty cool. And I guess from what I understood, the ring of light that you see around it is, from what I understand, it's like the light that's being sucked into the black hole. And there's some interesting stuff in regards to black holes. I remember watching a documentary and I liked how they explained it. That what I gathered from it, in any case, was that anything that has mass in the universe warps space-time at some level. And it's just that we're so small, we lack enough mass to perceive that warping with space-time, basically. But a more massive object like, say, the Earth, creates kind of like an indentation in space-time, kind of like a trough, and things that get close to it will fall into that trough, and that's why they'll fall towards the Earth or into the orbit, which is effectively a controlled fall anyways. Uh, but yeah, so the stuff with gravity and then of course the black hole where you're basically, I don't know if it's, they're saying that you punch, not you, but that the collapsing neutron star punches a hole straight through space-time, or it's just so deep in indentation that there's no real escape from it. And it's pretty crazy stuff. From what I understand, I wouldn't recommend trying to see what's on the other side of a black hole if you ever got the opportunity, because the gravitational forces would effectively tear you apart. So that wouldn't be fun. But yeah, so there's that. I think they were talking about, from what I understood, NASA was talking about going to set up a permanent installation on the moon like in 2024 or 2025. And what I wondered about that, I mean, one, I think they see that as a possible launching point for a trip to Mars, which, it's a little bit closer, so, I mean, it's still something like a 6, 7 month, I think, trip, they say, from here to Mars. But yeah, well, I mean, it depends on where you are in the orbit at the time. You'd have to line it up just right. So you couldn't just go any time and have the same length of trip, because, I mean, everything's moving around. But the other thing was, I think it was helium-3 that they said they might be able to mine from the moon, and supposedly you could use that in, I want to say they were saying fusion reactions, not fission reactions, to create power, and that using it would, that there's no radioactive byproduct from using helium-3. Uh, and that someone said something along the lines of, like, if you used, this is in some sort of news report documentary I saw a while back, that if you used 200 pounds of helium-3, you could power the city of Dallas for like a year. That was the statement that I remember someone making. Whether or not that's true or not, I don't know. I'm not an expert. But I do find the stuff interesting. Um, it's, I guess you could say I'm a little bit of what you might call a science enthusiast. Certainly by no means am I going and analyzing the data points or anything like a proper scientist would. Uh, my brother's been involved in research before, and he says it's just a lot of analyzing the same reactions, looking for minute differences. So, not something I particularly have the patience for. I don't mind someone else doing the work for me. But anyhow, so that's pretty cool if that's the case. But the thing I always wondered, from what I understood at least of space, is the fact that it's a vacuum. That if you are trying to travel through space and you have no shielding or protection or anything like that, you've got radiation from stars coming out that you've got no protection from. I mean, from what I understand, even on Earth, you're being hit with radiation all the time. It's just that it's such a small amount, and we've adapted to it enough that it obviously does affect us at some level, but it's not really anything that we were, I guess, not, we didn't adapt to handle at some degree. Um, but yeah, so there's that. So the thing I have to wonder, I think it's primarily Earth's magnetic field that takes a lot of the radiation, or blocks a lot of the radiation. So I guess maybe if they have some sort of magnetic field that they can generate, they can effectively protect somebody so that that prolonged exposure to radiation from the sun or other stars is not going to affect them too much. Um, and then, of course, there's other things that you have to deal with, like, I don't know how you would deal with, for example, if someone was born, like, say we went to Mars and we colonized Mars, if someone was born on Mars, how they would be able to work around coming to visit Earth, for example, because of the greater gravity, because they would have been born in an environment with much less gravity than Earth, or, well, maybe not much less, but some less gravity than Earth. So, unless you could create like an environment that simulated Earth's gravity, maybe, so that they were used to it when they developed. Uh, but it's interesting stuff. There's a lot of different hurdles for space travel, from what I understand. But, it's interesting to think about, and, maybe one day we'll finally get doing that. Of course, another thing that would be interesting is to see more of our oceans explored. Uh, from my understanding, we actually do have a few like mining operations that are fully underwater, uh, like in an underwater environment of some sort, uh, like artificial environment, of course. But I'm not 100% positive about that. I seem to remember hearing about that somewhere. Uh, like I said, I'm just kind of a normie, so I don't have a lot of data. This is just things I've heard or things that seem interesting to me personally. So if you want to go look them up, feel free to do so. Absolutely, don't take anything I say as gospel. Uh, I think it's always a good thing to do your own research no matter what someone says, because they might have heard it wrong or misinterpreted something, or in some cases there's people that read like parody articles and take them as fact. Uh, like I've known a number of people that have done that with like the Onion, for example. Uh, so you want to make sure that your information is correct before you start believing something is true 100%. And I think you should take everything with a big grain of salt just in general. But I personally would typically defer to the experts in an industry. So when it comes to scientific stuff, places like NASA or NOAA, and that's NOAA, I think it's NOAA. They do a lot of the environmental stuff, from what I understand, particularly with the things related to the ocean. So, yeah, that's about it for this particular Talky Tuesday. So, if you like it, feel free to comment, like, if you want to hear more of this crap, feel free to subscribe. I don't know exactly why you'd want to do that, but, you do you. But, in any case, until next time, y'all take care, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.